Howdy, folks. This video here is about taking notes on sources once we get them. And it's something that I know that you've done a lot in your other classes, but I think it really helps to review some of these fundamental skills before I set you loose on a 4 or 5 week research project. So our main learning goal today is to be able to gather relevant information from multiple authoritative sources, keep those organized, and be able to pick out the good information that we could actually use to help kind of validate and explain our own ideas. So what this is going to fall in kind of the research project is after you have your topic chosen and you've found your sources, then I would recommend that's when you start taking notes. Don't take notes as you find your sources. I think it's always better to kind of get a good set of sources first, make sure you have all your bases covered, and then start diving in and taking notes. That's just my personal recommendation, but that's what we're looking at. Okay, so here's kind of a 3-step process that I'm going to ask you guys to use in taking notes. So number one, you need to know what kind of ideas you need to record. And I know we haven't talked about the research project yet, but basically what I'll be asking you to do is when you take notes, have your final product in mind. Like, what is it that I'm going to need to create at the end? Why am I taking these notes? What am I going to do with them? And so to give you a little preview is you're going to have kind of a 4-part research project where you're going to write introduction and kind of a background information to your topic, because I'm not going to be an expert on your topic. You're going to be an expert on your topic. So there's going to be things that I don't know that you need to fill me in on for me to understand why this topic is important. Then you're going to explain without any opinion of your own, what do 2 different perspectives think about this topic? And then lastly, you're going to write an argumentative essay supporting your ideas. So you need to have those 4 pieces in mind as you are taking notes. Like, as I'm reading an article, does this bit of information help me provide some background, or does it help me provide an argument for my ideas that I'm developing? Does it help me explain one of these different perspectives on the topic as I go? And do keep in mind that you might narrow or revise your topic as you do your research, right? Research questions change. As you learn more information, you might realize new things and you might have to adjust. That's okay. That's part of the research project process. And then lastly, as you're reading things, you're really just looking for those facts, opinions, quotes, theories, ideas, anything that's going to help you answer your research question or fill out one of these other perspectives or one of these other requirements for your research paper. So have those in mind as you guys are selecting sources and working on them. All right, so some more specific note-taking ideas. Number one, don't write down too much, right? There's this kind of balance between giving yourself too much information and not enough information. Now, I'm a type of person who loves copy paste, right? That is my friend when I'm doing research. Now, you can certainly handwrite your notes if you want to, but I think that since we're going to do most of our research digitally, just using that copy paste button is going to be really, really effective. But just be sure to be judgmental with how much you copy and paste. Don't copy and paste entire paragraphs. Basically, that's just going to force you to reread your article when you get to the writing phase. So instead, just make a judgment, make an evaluation. If I have a paragraph that's this long and I think it's good, what's 1 or 2 sentences that I could copy and paste into my notes that are going to be useful when it comes time to write? And then lastly, I really think it's important to write down a quick reflection about why you thought that note or detail or fact or statistic was important. So while it makes sense to you right now as you're reading an article, when we get 1 or 2 weeks removed from that article, you may not remember, like, why did I copy this down? Why did I copy paste this? So if I have a note like this was my direct quote that I pulled from an article, I might just give a brief reflection. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't even have to be grammatically correct. Like, these are just your notes to help you remember why you thought this piece of information was useful. And so last piece before we get going is the idea of being organized. Again, I know we haven't started our research yet. We're just working on some preliminary skills. But again, I'm going to ask you to find and evaluate those initial 4 sources first. And then do keep in mind that your research might change as you go. As you're writing your paper, you might realize that a source actually isn't going to work and you have to go back and find another one. Happens all the time. Don't worry about it, but make sure you kind of have those 4 sources covered first. That's going to be our minimum of sources for this paper. And then take notes on each one and be sure to sort your sources, sort your notes by sources, and give yourself headings and subheadings and just kind of details. Because if you're taking all of your notes on one big document and it's just like 80 bullet points, that becomes really difficult to sort and filter when it comes time to write. But if you have them sorted by like pros of gun control, cons of gun control, opinions on gun control, right? You can have those different topics and subheadings that can help you move a lot faster through that writing process. All right. So again, last time, once you guys get to your research projects, you're going to make sure you have a focus. You're going to have a research question. And for some practice, I'm going to give you a research question for you guys to try and answer with a practice activity. And then what you're doing as you're reading and taking notes, try to find those quotations, the statistics, the ideas and details that will either help you answer that question or help you fill out those other requirements for this upcoming research paper. All right. Good luck, folks.